Hello everyone, and welcome to our Circle and Salve Women. So my apologies for being a little bit delayed on my video this week and my article. It's been that kind of school year where you want to make sure that you're embracing every student in the right way, given that they have truly been in virtual learning all last year. And it was very important for me to make sure that I welcomed my students with in more or less words, open arms. And so if you had read my article last week, and I was saying to you, regardless of how prepared I am, which I'd like to think that I would be perhaps rather be over-prepared than under-prepared, the important part was to smile. And you guys are probably thinking, well, it's COVID times. You're going to have your mask on, and how are you going to smile? And I thought of that because after I had already sent in, went ahead and submitted the video and had written my article, but it never dawned to me that perhaps in my mind, I honestly thought it was just going to be automatic for me to just smile with my eyes in my greetings. There is so much more than just smiling at someone that is to be considered a smile for me as a teacher. I used to not even think about the importance of greeting my students at the door. I used to think, I'm the teacher, you come in, you sit down, and you're waiting for me. And you grow as a teacher. So for me, it was when I had really written that article, I naturally already thought, I'm just going to smile at them. And with a face mask or not, it is essential to understand that it is in your eyes, it is in your words, it is really in your welcoming that makes a student feel your truth, how real you are in making them feel that they are deserving of your time and that you are deserving of their time, because it's a unit that you play together in the time that you have with one another. So if you are a little bit wondering when I was stating where just smile at everyone, again, even with masks on, we all know that there are ways to really push through with your eyes and the things you say and your gestures, push that smile through that mask. And I hope everyone did that as we entered the school year. I really felt I did. And I just looking at how my students are feeling happy in the classroom. Of course, there's always going to be the few that are still, trying to get a feel of their comfort zone, and that is to be expected. But they are feeling my genuine welcome, and that to me is important. So now, bearing that truth, I really want to speak today on my most recent article on how everything has really turned to COVID. And now, for those of you, we all know that COVID-19 is coming back from the year 2019. I believe it was in December when it was first actually discovered with the SARS CoV-2 virus. I believe that's the seventh virus, considerably cold virus that is obviously more hardier, has caused major sicknesses and unfortunate fatalities. We all know that is right now the brink of all conversations. But then in my own humorous mind, because always trying to stay resilient, I have to wonder if it really is the go-to blame for when people gain weight or lose weight, or they're feeling just low, or they're feeling some kind of way. I have to laugh about that and think to myself, has it really truly been the reason why we are, or have we always been this way and we have just really quite exacerbated the entire inner turmoils that we have? It's the COVID definitely has created somewhat of a gateway and a channel for us to say it's because of that this is who I am, and I have to ask myself, have we always been who we are? And now we've just found a channel to say that now I can expose myself in this way because of COVID. And so with that said, my discussion for today is really thinking of it in a positive light. Always trying to look in the positive. I recall my students asking me, how am I feeling about it, and so forth, and always trying to be the strength and not the weakness. I told my students, you're going to miss this historical mark in our life where we get to get out of bed, turn on our computer, regardless of what shoes we have on, or even if whether we have shoes or not, we turn on that computer and we start our learning. Now they're back to having to get up and hopefully shower and brush their teeth, and then have to wake up early in school, whether they're getting dropped off, so that means that they have to wake up someone else to get them to school, or that they're taking the bus, that means they're having to get up earlier so that they can catch that bus and they don't miss it, or that they're walking home and hopefully are still embracing the warmth, because as it gets colder, then we have to start thinking about, is it going to rain today? Am I going to bring my umbrella? Am I going to bring my raincoat? Am I going to put on a coat? And am I going to go ahead and have to carry this coat all day if it starts to get warm? Many aspects of our lives that we have to pre-plan just so that we can get through our days. And so in my thoughts of COVID, I really wanted to put some goodness into it in saying that, listen, we can look back at this and go, what will we miss that we will probably never get to essentially do again, just because we were in the comfort of our home. And when I say comfort, I do know that there are times where I've asked my students to unmute. They seem so quiet until they unmute, and then you realize that you have so much of family background, whether you have several siblings also learning and they're walking around and they're talking in their classroom, or parents at home working. There can be quite a few different types of levels of volume in a home, and that was something that really helped to open my eyes and ears, obviously, in making me understand that, wow, life is really happening in people's homes right now. But then again, I have to bring up that it gave us the one thing we take most for granted, and this is just me speaking on that part of when I say most for granted, that we wish we had more of and we never have enough of, and then all of a sudden when we get it, we don't know what to do with it. To me, I would like to think that if anything that COVID-19 gave us is time. And so for the next few minutes here, I really want to bring up what I gathered from it all. And looking back, I know it's not over and I know it's never going to leave us, but really in the midst of it all, what did it do for us when we were quarantined in our own home? We were asked to really just stay indoors, and if you could, just do your best to only go outside if it was an essential need. And yet we were still having that human need to go outside and connect with people. And when we couldn't do that physically, we actually turned to the media, into the internet, right? Which means between and among others, where we could communicate with one another. And here's the deal, people have been speaking and voicing out their opinions on issues that are important to them. But the difference I took note of in COVID times, really when we were in the brinks of it all, was that we then had time to listen to those who were already voicing out with whatever issues or concerns that they had perhaps been talking about for years. It was all of a sudden that moment where those who were too busy to listen, or perhaps really put some time and effort into processing the messages that people already had been working on for years to suggest or to convey or to deliver into the homes of people, we then finally had that time to go, I've got time to listen now. And so we were afforded the time to listen. And that to me was beautiful, to be virtually in a state of, in the confines of my home, into the safety net of my home, and just to turn on whatever it may be. We're not much of television watchers, but even just to turn on the computer or my phone, just anything that channeled me to the media. And mostly for me, I'm a reader with articles, so I was able to expose myself to many different types of issues and concerns that perhaps in the past I perused through. I thought to myself, oh wow, this is an interesting article, and yet didn't have time to go into it deeper. This was then the time that I did, and it gave me the time to be selective, so that if I wanted to laugh, I went ahead and read, or watched some funny things. And for me, it was that moment of power to go, oh, wow, I have time to actually do this. And then for those of you who said, okay, wait a minute, I don't have time to really watch any videos or so, then we read, right? And for me, again, mainly a reader, I was reading, and then as soon as you were reading one article, then you were driven to read another one, and so forth. And of course, we had to really make sure that we could empower ourselves to listen with great wisdom and strength, and also the discernment to know what was true and what was not. And that's difficult because, man, there were some people that were very convincing, and yet sometimes it can be also a concern of whether or not what they were trying to convey or trying to deliver to you was there any truth in what they were suggesting. And so that's when I took it to a different level, and then asking myself, okay, is this message truly creating unity, or is this creating division? Because for me, the way that I have really gained some maturity in my life, and just that level of maturation where you say to yourself, okay, how am I going to address the world when I know that there are many messages that are being sent my way? How can I stay in the light and not fall into darkness? Because all of us, that trickery, we sometimes don't even know that we're falling into it. And once we are in it, we then sometimes find ourselves in the community, or just in the company of people who then share that type of mindset. And what we don't realize is that then it could really put us in a situation where we are falling into a much darker space, not even realizing we were heading in that direction, just because of the company we had chosen, the community of people we started to choose. And we have to be very hyper vigilant with situations as that, because it could be people who are very, very convincing, and manipulating people in ways where we don't even realize that we're heading into a wrong path of thinking. And it's to no one's fault. Sometimes people are really strong about their beliefs, strong about what they really feel is or their message, and that what they feel is truly their truth. And you then have to find it in your heart to go, but is it my truth? Is it my reality? Is it something that I feel I can actually participate in or partake in, and feel that we're going into a direction where we can fix things, that we can fix things in the right way without creating division? Because what I started to see is confusion. And I'm going to perhaps be the first to say that it was confusion on my part, because sometimes when people say we need to be unified, and then as you continue to listen to their words, then I started to think, but hold on, now you're asking me to choose. And is that truly unity, or is that division? And when we see things that are cyclical, that have yet to be fulfilled, whether it be peace, whether it be just unity itself, or love, or just really that true resilience as one, I have to ask myself, when people are voicing out, have they taken the time to really say this, or have they been also a cat chasing their own tail and going in circles and going nowhere with it? And yet the rage and the hate and just the agony from all the pain continue. And for me as a mother, as a teacher, and as a wife, I have really taken that into account, because I've had to protect my own layers of my own peace and my own self-beliefs of what is true and therefore what is not. And again, it can be very difficult to discern from the truth to what is not the truth. And so the beautiful part of seeing all of that during COVID times and listening in and reading about what people's thoughts were and perspectives were, to me it was beautiful, because I could see the unity that people were promoting. I could see people backing someone up and empowering them and saying, you know, this is wonderful, and yeah, you should keep pushing. And it made them want to talk more about their concerns and their issues, what was important to them, while others listened and were also empowered by it. Many lives changed during COVID times in the right direction, whether it was, why are you still stuck in the gutter of being in this relationship or being in this job or being in this status, when you now have the time to make a change. And so I started to see people take the time to actually remodel their home or fix something about them. And so while people were gaining weight, I saw it, and perhaps there were people who needed to gain weight because they were emaciated, and so they needed to go into that direction and then put some health into their system. And then there were those who said, okay, hold on, now I have put myself in the obese section, so now I have to start thinking and taking the time now to start eating well. And then so all of this mass social media, everyone that was promoting whatever it was for good health was being listened to at a higher and more deeper level, so that people were then starting to lose weight in the right way, so that they were eating right, they were doing right, they were living right. And that to me was beautiful, and that we were helping each other. And then those who wanted to promote their business, we were then helping each other how to promote business. And then those people who wanted to fix their relationships, we were helping people to fix their relationships. But my concern then were there were the other who were then promoting separation, who were then promoting and empowering people to do the wrong. And that's when I had to go, time to change the channel, time to stop reading this article, because this is not going to be doing anything for me that would help me strengthen my desire to have peace for all. And I always have to protect my mind and my heart and my spirit, because I have to think to myself, as I owe it to my students, I owe it to my children, I owe it to my husband, I owe it to those around me. Anytime I could be at a grocery store, at the fitness club, or wherever I may be, just walking out in the street, what am I promoting? And so therefore, what has then fed me? Because whatever expels out of my mouth, out of my energy, out of my spirit, out of my heart, I know it has to come from what I have just then ingested. And so we have to be careful. But honestly, COVID was a beautiful time. It was a beautiful time. And when I say time, it was beautiful to be given time to actually practice that in asking ourselves, what am I going to let in? What am I going to allow myself to absolve and say, this is me. This is what I want in my life. And these are the things I don't want in my life. And so I hope that you also saw some light amidst all of that, that when we were all quarantined, we were all put in a position where we couldn't go anywhere, and you had to sometimes just be in a room with all of your loving children and your spouse or your partner, or sometimes just, being with your roommate or so, and just really respecting the people that were with you in that time, that you found some time to really look within and maybe not just remodel the home, not just remodel your bedroom, not just fix things around you, but taking the time to fix ourselves, fixing the time to really look within our heart, our mind, our spirit, and asking ourselves, how am I going to go forward? And looking in with all the support system that we had all around us, because there were some great words out there. There were great things written that really helped me also to grow. I know that every time I turned on my class to listen to my students, they taught me so much, and they didn't even know it. Sometimes it was in their silence. It was just in their eyes. It was just in their gestures that helped me to grow during those times. And looking at my own children who had to do their own learning and had to learn how to be independently turning it on or seeking help when they needed to. And we working as a team, and my husband helping out, and us being a support system. Amazing things happened. And so blame it on COVID? Well, perhaps, but we've always had problems, and I really hope that in light of it all, we also know now how to just be resilient even more, and saying to ourselves, we are stronger and we are better because of all of this, and we're going to forgo even stronger and better than yesterday. So in the words of my mother, God bless us all. May your school year be wonderful. If it hasn't been in just a few days that it has started, may you continue to work toward the light no matter what. Keep loving you, keep doing you, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much. Have a great day.